Have you ever wondered why you said yes to something you didn't really want? Maybe you signed up for a subscription you barely use, or agreed to help a friend when you were already stretched thin. We like to think our choices are logical, but in reality, much of human behavior is guided by invisible strings. Hi, I'm Peter. Welcome back to Books for Thoughts. This week, we're completing our journey into the art of influence, looking at why people say yes and how these hidden forces shape almost everything in our lives. Today, we turn to Robert Cialdini's classic, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. At its heart, persuasion isn't manipulation. It's the natural language of decision-making. And when you understand its patterns, you start to see them everywhere. One of the first principles Cialdini describes is reciprocity. The idea is simple. When someone gives us something, we feel an almost automatic pull to give something back. It's wired into us, a survival instinct from the days when community meant life or death. But in modern life, it shows up in ways we hardly notice. That free sample at the grocery store, the unexpected favor from a coworker, even the small compliments we receive. All of these plant a seed of obligation. It doesn't mean we're weak. It means we're human, caught in the natural rhythm of give and take. Another powerful lever is social proof. We're tribal creatures and we look to others for signals on how to act. Think about the way laughter tracks on TV make unfunny jokes seem funnier, or how the simple phrase, best-selling book, makes us more likely to buy. We don't stop and analyze the data. Instead, we follow the crowd, trusting that the group must know something we don't. It feels safe, and in uncertain times, safety is magnetic. But perhaps the most subtle and dangerous is the principle of commitment and consistency. We all want to see ourselves as stable, reliable people. So when we make a small public commitment, we feel pressure to act in line with it. A simple yes to a harmless question can snowball into agreement with something much larger. It's why salespeople often ask us small, harmless questions first to build a chain of tiny commitments. And it's why breaking a promise to ourselves feels like such a heavy weight. Consistency is comforting, but it can also trap us. As I share these principles, it's tempting to think of them as tricks, tools used by marketers, politicians, or con artists. And it's true, they can be, but there's another way to look at them. They're not just weapons of influence. They're mirrors of human nature. They reveal what we truly value: fairness, belonging, identity. When used with awareness, they can help us not only resist manipulation, but also communicate with more care and honesty. Take authority, for example. We are wired to trust those who appear knowledgeable. The doctor in the white coat, the expert quoted on the news, the leader who speaks with confidence. Authority has kept human groups organized and safe for centuries, but Cialdini shows how easily this instinct can be misused. When we see a title, a uniform, or even a certain tone of voice, we often shut down our critical thinking. We outsource judgment. And in that quiet surrender, our choices are no longer truly ours. Scarcity is another deeply human trigger. When something seems rare, we believe it must be valuable. Limited edition. Only 2 seats left. Offer ends tonight. Scarcity whispers to the part of us that fears missing out, that fears regret. Sometimes that urgency is real, but often it's manufactured. When we act under scarcity's spell, we're not choosing, we're reacting. And then there's liking. We are far more likely to say yes to people we know, admire, or feel connected to. It could be as simple as physical attractiveness, shared interests, or the warmth of a smile. We want to agree with people we like because it feels good to strengthen that bond. But this too can be shaped and directed. Entire industries are built on creating the illusion of connection to influence our choices. Taken together, these principles form a kind of map to human persuasion. And here's the key. You don't need to memorize them. You already live them every day. Each principle is rooted in something real. The pull of fairness, the comfort of belonging, the trust in knowledge, the fear of loss, the joy of connection. The danger isn't in the principles themselves, but in forgetting that they're always at work in us. So what do we do with this knowledge? Cialdini suggests awareness first. When you recognize these patterns, you begin to pause before reacting. You can ask yourself, am I choosing freely, or am I being nudged by an old invisible string? And on the other side, when you influence others, you can choose to use these principles with integrity, not to manipulate, but to build trust, to encourage fairness, to communicate clearly. Because persuasion isn't going away. It's woven into every conversation, every relationship, every choice. And perhaps that's the most important lesson. The art of influence is not about control. It's about responsibility. When we know the levers of human behavior, we're called to use them with care, to create more honest exchanges, not more clever tricks. If this breakdown stirred something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy of Influence by Robert Cialdini and see how these principles show up in your own life. And if you enjoy exploring wisdom like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Books for Thoughts, where we share weekly reflections that bring timeless ideas into everyday choices. Until next time, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and remember, every yes you give is a vote for the life you're creating.